Jen, where were you the other day?
Oh, guys, I am Snow White. Okay, so I was on my friend's property in South Georgia, and with another friend, and I shit you all not, this deer. This is only one of so many pictures. This deer came up to us, let us pet it. We were touching its feet. I was playing with its ears. This deer, they don't lick, by the way, like dogs. This deer put its little snoot up and nuzzled my face multiple times. This deer, it was the most ridiculous thing. And so we asked someone who lived in this area, like, is this normal? Because I've been at places and I've seen deer and they never and this guy said, no, that is not normal, not ever anywhere that the deer comes out. It was crazy. This was the coolest thing ever. It was very cool. Anyway,
I think you should be a
That was my experience a few days ago.
I think you should be a fortune teller as far as I'm concerned. It does seem that you kind of call these things because you seem to know like what's going to happen, like what the trends are going to be, like how.
I'm very, very clairvoyant, Peter. You should know this. And it's because, look, the deer like me.
Are you a deer whisperer? Damn it, Doug. I don't know who said it first.
I honestly, he went up to Rachel first, and I was being careful because I didn't want to scare him. I don't even know if it's a him. I don't know. I didn't flip it upside down. But this deer wasn't scared of us at all, like at all. And the only thing, it kept looking around like it was looking for something else that might hurt it, but it was not scared of us. It was the cutest. I can't even. I have a picture of its little snoot right up at my face. I never got that close. It was other than like in petting zoo. I've been to petting zoos when my kids were little where they'll have a deer in there. Totally wild deer. It was unreal.
If you like this wholesome content like this, make sure to get over to patreon.com/generational change for as little as $5 a month. You can become a supporter of our small but mighty channel. We have lots of wonderful guests still on the horizon and getting our schedule set, but we certainly hope that you enjoyed the conversation this evening. We do have
there were no antlers. Philip, if there were antlers, I wouldn't have gotten near it. I have a personal rule. I don't attempt to touch things that have sharp parts. Okay? Beaks, claws, antlers, no. Horns, no. I don't approach things that have sharp parts. But really, the deer, it doesn't even have big enough teeth. Like I've never heard of a deer attack with antlers. So I was good. Thank you. My friend Rachel took it. She takes really good pictures of me. Thank you, guys.
Yes. And apparently
I don't know if it was a female. I don't know. It was only about a year old. The guy who we told about it and showed the picture said it was one of last year's babies. So it's a young or an older juvenile because it didn't have its spots, but man friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have a new friend. That deer will remember you if you ever come back.
Well, we're going to be back there tomorrow night. And I actually think that it'll come back because that's its place to eat.
Have you? Well, there you go. So clearly there was a limit to how far Mr. Cohen was willing to go on the subject of Israel.
Look, that's generational as well. You know what I mean?
And that's
like Bernie. He's like
I didn't want to completely put him on the spot, but I'll put you on the spot. So probably the biggest suck off of Israel in the United States Congress in the Senate has to be John Fetterman. Fetterman's staffers.
He does it. It's almost like though he's going out of his way to overdo it. He's so ridiculous about it. It's so like it's almost campy. Like it doesn't
it's not even a question of it being campy. It's a question of what have we noticed about a lot of these people? You know, the one thing we didn't talk about.
Doug, I'm not in Florida. I'm in Georgia. Continue.
One of the things we didn't talk about with Ben that will, obviously wouldn't have been, it's more of a taboo subject anyway. But the thing that I can still remember, I was obviously young at the time, and so were you, but I'm sure you remember very well the spring of 1994 when Jerry Seinfeld was 38 dating Shoshana Lonstein, who was 17. And Lord knows when he actually met her. But technically, in the state of New York, if I remember correctly, the legal age of consent in New York is actually 18. It's not 17. So Jerry Seinfeld is technically a pederast. Now, you could say that he's.
No, I, as somebody who has done criminal defense and who understands the difference and nuance and context, no, I will not let you call Jerry Seinfeld a pederast. Sorry.
So the definition is clearly defined based on pre or post pubescence, is what you're saying.
It's based on so many variables in terms of context. Okay. I don't think he's ever done anything that intimates he's attracted to children.
No, I agree with that. No, well, that's what I'm saying.
What a pederast is. A pederast
so then I shouldn't have used that term.
To children. Like, I don't think Matt Gaetz is a pederast. I think he's lechy and gross and going out with girls that he ought not be. But that's not the same. Again, nuance is important here. Continue.
The point I'm making and the reason I brought that up is because you just brought up a very important point about Fetterman. He has an incessant need to overcompensate his love for Israel. And what that tells me, when you look at most people, it's kind of like the incessant commentary that comes out of the likes of somebody like Ted Cruz, is that they're overcompensating for something. There's something that there's something that they're hiding. Perhaps there's something in Fetterman's past that he doesn't want anyone to know about, and he believes that by sucking up to the Mossad, that is what is going to protect him. That if his
overthink that so much. I don't think that.
So then what is his motivation?
I think he's just like Trump, and he's just likes getting a rise out of everybody to some extent. He's like sort of leaning into being the bad guy. It's like he kind of likes it. I'm not sure that it isn't as much of like how we had Manchin and Cinema. And now you
guys.
Yeah, really. But he's the baddie. He's playing the part. I don't know how much of it was he's always been this way versus he just sort of found his niche. I have no idea. But I think you're giving it you've gone way down a sort of conspiratorial rabbit hole. And again, I'm very Occam's razor. Right? Like, so what's the most logical explanation? You're off talking about the Mossad. I think he's just being a suck ass because he's figuring out what's best for his career, whatever direction, whatever marketing, whatever branding.
What career does he really think he has when the guy is a complete ogre? He's 6'9", he's 350 pounds, he doesn't dress properly, and I'm not one to say that he can't.
But that's his branding.
But where does he ultimately think he's taking it? I mean, I understand that he's a U.S. senator.
You're asking me to get in the mind of like friggin', Uncle Fester?
No, but the truth is that he holds a significant amount of political capital. He's in, perhaps, arguably, the most consequential swing state in the country. And so because he's in that significant of a swing state, there's a lot of different things that he can employ based on the amount of power that he can wield. And that's also the power of being in the U.S. Senate. You get 6-year terms. And unlike somebody like Cinema, he is actually somebody who is, I mean, I'm not going to automatically say that he's not going to win re-election if he chooses to go in that direction. Everyone is convinced that if he runs again, that he's going to lose. I don't agree with that at all.
Well, it depends on who he's running against. Everything comes down to, it's all relative. Everything comes down to what the other option is. What's the other flavor?
Well, you've also said that the Democratic Party, for all intents and purposes, electorally is dead and is probably dead.
I do believe that. I think dead nationally. I do not think that you will see another Democratic president.
So then the other question, so that it comes down to this variable in a state like Pennsylvania. So if his reelection is not until, was he elected in 20 or is it 22? Yeah. Is it 20? Guys, was Fetterman?
No, he wasn't the same year as us. It wasn't the same year as us.
No, I'm pretty sure he was 22. Yeah, so he was 2022.
Yeah, we were already doing the show.
So if he runs for re-election in 2028, the next presidential election, you really think the Democratic Party is going to put 50 million plus on the line for a drag them out primary against Fetterman? I don't see it. So there's that. And then
I don't know. And he's the kind of guy also, like, it wouldn't surprise me if he switched parties either.
Switched parties. No, it wouldn't surprise me either, especially if the Democratic Party is a sinking ship.
Which it is. Yeah. And in a state like Philadelphia, if he was capable of winning in any regard, right? Like, let's just assume he would win re-election. He would win it as an independent as well as he would win it as a Democrat. Kind of like Bernie. He'd be able to win Pennsylvania as an independent if he had support. It wouldn't matter what his party was if he had support of his home state. That's what I'm saying. So he could switch. He really could. In Pennsylvania, at every state, you are going to watch the United States turn to all red. California might be the last holdout, but they're all flipping because the Democrats are being out-registered everywhere, and no one is joining that party. That's young people are not registering to vote as Democrats. It's not happening. So rarely. Most people are no party. Second is Republicans, and third is Democrats. Some states more than others. And so they're going to run out of people to support them. It will happen. They are dying. And so I think all states inevitably are flipping red, other than ones that you might be able to now start seeking running as independents in some states. But yeah, the Democrats are dwindling away. You're going to see less and less.